All right, welcome back to Afternoon. Thanksgiving is here, but for many people it can be very stressful. The most stressful holidays, dealing with picky eaters, family feuds, undercooked turkeys. It's a long list, over-the-top expectations across the board.
Absolutely. Joining us in studio with tips on how to keep your Thanksgiving dinner stress-free, our etiquette expert, Carey McBeth. Carey, thanks for being here.
Thanks, Lynn. Always a pleasure.
So when you're looking at having a bunch of people over, including family and friends, for Thanksgiving. Some people say there's going to be, 10 to 20 people. What's your first tip on how to ease the stress level after you pour the glass of wine?
After you pour the glass of wine. Of course. The number one thing you're going to want to do, Lynn, is obviously to have a plan. Have your shopping done a couple of days in advance. Do as much prep work as you possibly can the day before, so that on the day of you can relax, only have to focus on the actual cooking and the final preparations that go with it.
Well, the cooking's an issue because we certainly don't want a frozen turkey going in the oven on game day, as I like to call
Absolutely.
it. So lots of preparation in that regard, I would suspect.
For sure. Make sure you're taking out your turkey possibly now. Sorry, Mom, but I will never forget the time that we had turkey at midnight. It was just an unfrosted turkey.
These things happen.
It does. It happens. That's one of the things. You can't have a perfect evening. We all are going to, have things happen. The turkey burns, or it's overcooked or undercooked. It's going to happen. Just relax, calm down, and maybe have that additional glass of wine.
Or a bottle.
Now, what about the table? How do you prep a table if you've got a large group? Maybe everyone doesn't get along.
Sure.
Do you do a big circle kind of, or do you do the long table? What's the best way to make it the most social and the easiest?
Sure. Well, with the larger groups, obviously, you're probably going to have the longer table. Most of us have a long table in our homes. Just making sure that you place people in places that you should. You're probably going to have maybe your Uncle Tom or your Aunt Betty or whoever who sometimes is a little bit challenging at the dinner table. You're going to want to sit a buffer next to that person. Sometimes, Lynn, that ends up being you as the buffer. But basically, you're going to calm maybe the nasty comments that come out, or just try to make sure that everybody's getting along, changing conversation when it gets to a controversial topic.
Yeah. My Uncle Tom. It's intolerable.
My Uncle Les loves it, too.
Well, so who do you decide who's the buffer? Do you draw straws for that?
Usually it's your person who is the calmest person of all. My Auntie Sandy is a perfect buffer. She's always happy. She can change subjects, and she can cool any hotheads that come about, too.
Very nice. Well, we've got a list here, top 10 tips. I like some of these here. I haven't heard of these before. Provide your guests with take-home boxes, so you don't have so many leftovers.
Yeah, that's actually really fun. Those little teeny Chinese takeout boxes that you can purchase. Then you have your guests go. They fill up a little bit in their own little box before you go. You don't have to clean up as much, and your guests get to leave with a little bit of turkey, too.
That's a good idea.
Now, what about kids? Lots of people obviously have kids. They're going to be part of Thanksgiving. Yes. Some people who are coming don't necessarily want to be around the kids, don't like the kids having to eat near them. Do you have to set them at a kiddie table, or should they eat before everybody else? What are the rules?
There's a couple of things that you can do. First of all, you can always have a kids' table. Have some activities there for them. One of the things I think is a lot of fun is to have placemats, those paper placemats. Have the crayons and have the kids draw their Thanksgiving scene, what is important to them, what they're thankful for. Maybe a small little puzzle that they can do. So it doesn't matter if they're at the kids' table or if they're actually at the adult table. They have something to keep themselves busy as opposed to banging cutlery on the table or getting frustrated.
I know that sound. Ringing in my head.
It's giving them something to do.
Yeah. Okay, say you're a guest going to a Thanksgiving dinner. What are you required to bring?
You should always obviously bring something for your host. Typically, you'll have people bringing bottles of wine or flowers. One of the nice things to do is to have the flowers actually in a vase or cut prior to, because the last thing, when you're cooking a turkey and everything else, and you've got 16 people in your home, the last thing you want to be doing is cutting stems on bouquets. Yeah. So try to make it a little bit easier for your host.
So let's recap. Wine on the top.
Flowers in a vase or already cut. Ready to go.
Defrosted turkey.
Because it is a great gesture, and I love getting flowers, but it is something when you're up to your eyeballs in what's going on in the kitchen, and people come in and bring flowers, and invariably they get left on the counter until tomorrow morning, sort of thing. So
absolutely.
You make it sound so easy.
Yeah.
Oh, it's not. Absolutely not.
In theory, it is. Good luck, everybody.
Yeah.
Thanks, Carey.
Thank you. My pleasure.
Thanks so much.